Well, of course, fake news is a big challenge for all societies, not just here in Western Europe, but of course in developing countries around the world. And I think part of the problem is that the spread of poor quality digital information on digital news platforms means that it's harder and harder for audiences to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. So I think part of the solution is for audiences to go back to the trusted news brands that they know and to support the commercial activities of commercial news brands that they know and trust. People have got to support high quality news and journalism where they find it, but also I think it's important both for journalists and for governments and societies and regulators to find ways of squeezing out the poor quality content, either by legislating to suppress genuinely toxic content that is hate speech, for example, or by using the algorithms and the tech platforms and their power of aggregation and bringing audiences together with content to suppress and push back on poor quality, divisive fake news. So you're absolutely right that only really individual governments can control their own regulatory framework. There has to be strong journalism, both in the public service broadcasting sector, but also for commercial news activity. And you're right that audiences also have a responsibility. People need to think about the content that they're sharing on social platforms and avoid sharing content which they suspect may be untrue, because if they suspect it is, it probably is. So the BBC wants to take on a leadership role globally in the fight against fake news and disinformation, partly because we're one of the strongest and most extensive international news gathering organisations, but also because we provide news in 42 different languages, including English, so we can see in detail into those language markets that other organisations can't. We've aggregated all of our fake news insight into one place, into the Beyond Fake News URL on bbcnews.com, and we're also continuing to work to commission original research to understand better why audiences share fake news, particularly in developing parts of the world where there's less control and less regulation. Well, you're right, this is a struggle that's going to be with us for another decade or more. This is not a flash in the pan talking point about President Trump tearing down CNN. This is a big global scale problem analogous to climate change. People should treat it with that degree of seriousness. We have to accept that there needs to be a significant global response to educate audiences, to increase standards of global media literacy, so that audiences throughout the world understand the responsibilities of what they consume and what they share, and the need to sustain credible, independent and trusted news providers into the next decade and beyond.